So down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Squeeze. Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Baton Rouge.
Lives Mohamed and Kim Saied. And they moved to Baton Rouge from Cairo, Egypt 1 year and 3 months ago. And they are with us today because we wanted to find immigrants from all over the United States, from different parts of the world, to discuss their experiences moving to the United States, to a vastly different culture, and how it has been so far for them from the time they came here, because it was the first time they ever came to America. How are you guys?
Hey, how are you?
All right. Kim is obviously, Kim, well, I don't want to say obviously. Kim is the U.S. citizen, and Mohamed is from Cairo, Egypt, and the first time you ever came to the United States was 1 year and 3 months ago. Is that correct?
Well, we used to come to visit my in-laws every 2 years. That's correct. But this is my first year and a half of permanently staying in the United States.
And how'd you guys meet? On one of your visits? Is that how you guys met?
Oh, you want to say that part?
No, I went there to teach, and I was looking for a place to live, actually.
You went where to teach? In Egypt? I
went to teach, and his dad was a real estate agent, but his dad couldn't speak very good English, so his dad brought him to help with translation.
Right.
And then he just kind of became my knight in shining armor. He just helped with everything, and so I couldn't resist it.
Oh, wonderful! And so you lived in Cairo for how long?
We lived in Cairo for about 10 years. 10
years. So what made you decide now to come to the United States after, I guess you started a life in Cairo, you were living in Cairo, Egypt. What decided or precipitated you to come to America now? You've been married or living together for a very long time.
Well, we have 3 kids, and they were born and raised in Cairo, but they are Americans too. So when we used to come and visit, they love how is it like here, and we were planning in the future anyway that they will be coming here to continue their college education. So we kind of took the initiative a little bit early, so that's why we decided to actually move in so our kids can go to college here. And that's the main thing. Yeah.
And Squeeze, you
what is your religion, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm Muslim, Sunni.
Have you run into any difficulties because you're Muslim and going through this process?
Do you mean coming into the country?
Coming into the country and being in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which probably is not a huge Muslim welcoming committee there waiting for you, right?
Right. I mean, coming into the country wasn't really a big problem. Just going through the process of, to get my green card, it wasn't really a big dilemma, because my case is a little bit easier. I mean, being married for long, I have 3 kids, and we have 3 kids in common. Our marriage is really stable for the past 12 years. So I don't think I really had much problems coming in. In the process of getting my green card, we faced a lot of difficulties still, because we were married 12 years overseas, and we had to actually try and prove that we were married for 12 years.
So what do you mean prove you were married? Don't you have a marriage certificate?
We do have a marriage certificate and birth certificates for the kids that was issued abroad from the United States Embassy and everything.
Right.
And we have all kind of a whole established file of life between us. But
they still put you through the ringer.
Kim, what kind of hoops did you have to jump through? Because you are a U.S. citizen. So what kind of hoops did you have to jump through in regards to what?
Well, the thing is, we were concerned because we have friends who also have gone through the process, and they haven't been married as long as us, but they have had to create whole photo albums and all these things. So the night before the green card interview, I was putting together tons of pictures. So when we got there, I had a whole stack of pictures. Burns, he's like, okay, I think 12 years and 3 kids. It's pretty obvious, that you guys have
at the front of the pyramids. Cool picture.
Yeah, that's us. Yeah.
So,
that's my parents.
What was the most difficult thing that you had to do to process to get the green card? If there was one thing you're like, oh my God, this was,
Yeah, I mean, the most difficult thing is because when we first moved to the U.S. in last June, We had bought a house and moved into it, and then it was flooded because there was a great flood here.
Right.
And then so we had to rebuild the house, and it took us So it took us about like 6 months because we just moved into America for 1 month and a half. Me personally, I moved 1 month and a half, and everybody else. And then the house was flooded, so I had to start to look for a job. I mean, I wasn't able to because I had to spend like almost 6 months rebuilding the house one more time. So when we went to our green card interview, before we went, we had faced difficulties of proving our income because we are a family of 5, and the United States
with the affidavit of support issues, right? You had affidavit of support issues.
So we were basically in the eyes of the authorities, like under the poverty line.
Now, did you get a second affidavit of support from somebody else?
See, that's the case here. Like, it was like we should prove like about $35,000 a year of income, like yearly income.
Right, but it's hard to prove that because you're both living in Cairo.
Sorry, sir?
It's hard to prove it because you're both living in Cairo.
Yeah, so we didn't have any proof of income here in the United States because as we moved, we had just moved and we were flooded. So we had to spend like 6-8 months rebuilding the house. And so we were not able to show that we have stable income of $35,000 to support a family of 5.
So what did you do?
So we had 2 options. Either like we get a sponsorship.
Right. So so what did you do?
No, we didn't do that actually. We because we have properties overseas.
You used your property. We had that question earlier where you can get 20%. Use 20% of the value of your property.
And we own properties overseas, so we were able to show an estimate of how much they are and how easy they are to be liquidated into money.
Now we're running out of time, but I really want to get an idea of what was your welcome like when you came to America. Now you're married, you come from 2 different cultures, you have a green card. What was your welcome like in terms of you're an immigrant? What was your welcome like that basically, obviously, you come from 2 different cultures, yet you're married and you have this beautiful family together, and you didn't move to what it would be considered an area where lots of immigrants move to. You moved to Louisiana, which has its own racial profiling histories, going back hundreds and hundreds of years. So what was that whole experience like from all those different perspectives?
I mean, it was. I have to say, like, it was a little difficult. Yeah, I mean, it's not easy, and it's still difficult. Like, there's a lot of difficulties I face on a daily basis, but I wouldn't say like to the point that I am being, totally like isolated from the society. I think like for many reasons, probably like I understand like the whole thing about my. When you first meet with someone and say your name, you get that initial blockage, but right after that, when people get to know you, I mean, they're more like, I think, like welcoming, because right now, like, I coach soccer, I volunteer to do that, so like families, I think, like, trust me to have their kids with me, and I also coach
so
gymnastics.
You're initially profiled until they get to know you.
You know what I noticed?
Exactly.
Mohamed and Squeeze, about immigrants generally, is that everybody says, kick them the hell out of the country, except this guy. I know him. He's a really nice guy. So as soon as you start meeting people and realizing they're human beings, it's a different story.
Yeah.
So you're having what's happening economically now with you? What's your American dream? Because we're running out of time.
Yeah, we're running out of time. Hopefully we can bring you back on the show again.
Yeah, but tell us what your American dream is. Tell us how you are doing economically now that you've been here a year. Is it everything you thought it was going to be? Is it different? Is it harder? Is it more easier? Is it difficult? Is it your expectations being met of what you thought life would be here?
Right. Expectations were not yet met because, it's totally different for any immigrant who comes it's really easy to make it here. It's really difficult and hard. You have to work really hard. You have to have specific skills. You have to be willing to actually develop your own skills, because what is here is not dollars growing on trees. People working hard. Absolutely. So some immigrants know that. Some immigrants think it's, I will come here and make a lot of money and go back home or so. It's not working this way. I'm very qualified. I taught for 12 years. I have like a long experience of like many things in sport and teaching and everything. And I still work on demand sometimes. I work on like market economy, like shared economy jobs. I work part-time jobs. I might have like 3 or 4 jobs. And that's true. Yesterday I worked 14 hours. in different 3 jobs because that's how the job required me to do.
You sound like a Jamaican, man.
I knew you were going to say
Yeah.
that. I knew you were
Sound like
going to
a
say
Jamaican.
that. I
I'm
was about to
Jamaican.
say, wow, the Egyptians and Jamaicans got something in common there.
Just like, I mean, the American dream is a beautiful dream. I have a beautiful house, beautiful family, nice car. I live like in a very clean environment.
Don't forget your beautiful wife. You got to say that specifically, you know?
Oh yeah, that's the only thing, you know, that like keeps me here and keeps everybody like together. So I would have to say, like, the only thing any immigrant come here, he must think twice about what kind of qualifications would I have to make me able to make it. Otherwise, I have to say that the system is really difficult. The system is really, if you are out of the system, you'll be crushed.
You can say
you
it's
have
screwed
to
up.
be into the system,
Yeah.
and you have to be really smart and wise while you're in the system to develop your own skills and make it. But the American dream is there. I mean, it's beautiful. It's nice. But
It's within
you have
reach,
to
but
work.
hard work.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's
And
Kim
challenges.
Saied, wow,
Thank you
that's
so
a great
much.
story. Thank you very much for joining us. It's great to get people from different cultures hear their story about coming to America. You know, there's struggles and there's hope, and you got the love of each other. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with us.
We do
Thank you.
appreciate it, all right?
Thank you.
Appreciate
Okay,
it.
guys.
All right,
Bravo.
Kim and Saied Mohamed.
Yep.
They met in Cairo 12 years ago. He just immigrated a year ago, and he has his ups and downs here. You know, that's America. You know, some people think the roads are paved with gold. They're paved, unfortunately, with
Many
hard work.
people think that.
Yeah, they're paved with hard work.